In today's video, I'm gonna bring you through and pull down the currents behind a business, an e-commerce brand that is generating $2.3 million per month. Last 30 days, $2.3 million. So I'm gonna break down exactly what they're doing, what they're working on, where they are spending their time on, just so you can understand the difference between a 6 and a 7-figure infrastructure and pretty much e-commerce business compared to an 8-figure or multiple 8-figure one, okay? With no further ado, let's get right into it. There's a lot to cover in this video as usual. Great, as usual, every single time I go through these little case studies here and there, I show the proof, especially for the new viewers. And so as you can see here in the last 30 days, we generated $2.3 million in just 30 days, okay? They actually have 26.8% return customer rate over time, which is, a very, very healthy metric. It's typically lower, more towards the 15, I would say between 15 and 20% over the course of the year, just mostly because it's, I would say, we had Black Friday and we had the sales and etc. But, it's typically around 20%. Look, this is a great business. I love working with this business. I'm going to break down exactly what they're focusing on. And as I bring you through these concepts, you'll start to notice maybe, hopefully, some differences between where they are focusing your time and maybe where you are focusing your time if you are not at, $2.3 million per month. And as you can see, this is 80% higher compared to the previous period. And so, typically the business throughout the year outside just on Shopify, because they also have Amazon divisions and other channels, they do around $1 million a month plus or minus. Okay, now let's get into the nitty and gritty. I have as usual several things to show you over here. I have a pretty big long chart and freeform as usual, and I'm gonna bring you through and talk about different principles that they are focusing on. I'm only gonna talk about what they're focusing on. Now, of course, every single aspect that I'm gonna talk about in this video is not everything they do, right? There are many other things that they do that are outside of this video, but these are the principal core fundamentals that they are focusing on to grow a business like this and to have a lot of leverage, okay? So let's start with the first thing over here. One thing that I noticed between businesses that are doing like bigger numbers and smaller numbers is that they have a much more they are able to distribute their channels. They're able to distribute their products in a much kind of like vast way. So they don't rely on just one product. And if they do have one product, they have like different variations of that product, different colors, different styles, right? Same product, but different styles, right? For example, right? So you don't have to like completely reinvent the wheel and 100% go after like completely new products. It doesn't mean that. It could also mean like reinventing the wheel on like the model, the extra little feature or something like that. Pretty much like Apple does, right? You get the point. And so they have like a distribution where they have a bunch of different SKUs, a bunch of different products, which in this case, they're actually not different. They're just different SKUs and different models. This is how I should frame it for them. And so they have a pretty good distribution, right? And so this is also how you're able to increase revenue automatically. Even if you don't promote like, let's just say that these two are the major winners on paid ads that are allowing you to scale, and maybe are like 50-60% of revenue, then the good thing is that even if you don't promote, these other back-end products are just sitting on your website, automatically people are, once they go to your websites through ads, they're gonna go and find other products that they like and are interested in, and they're gonna buy, and so automatically your revenue is going to increase. I don't need to explain why adding new products is a no-brainer and really, really valuable. I always recommend at least every 3 months to launch a new product or something new to your store to also engage with your other customers and, of course, build your foundations there. When I say other models, I also mean subscription. So they don't have subscription. They don't really have subscription, something that we could potentially add on if we find a way, because the thing with subscription is that you can't always find a way to add subscription to your business, or like and if it doesn't, like, you can't really force a subscription, but there are certain ways to do it, where perhaps what I saw is that if you maybe buy a yearly subscription of like X amount, you are able to save X amount on something else. So you basically pay the subscription to have some discounts on the product that you want to buy. So that's not what we're doing here. They don't even have a subscription, but I just wanted to show you kind of like their distribution level of products. They do the same thing, this level of distribution. They're going to have the same exact approach when it comes to offers. So if there's one thing that we really start to do is testing new angles and different, not angles, but I mean in this section, talking about offers, different offers. So this is how we distribute it. This is what the 6-7 figure business does. They maybe have 1 or 2 offers that are working for them. And so what we want to do and what we're doing with this client is that we're essentially launching multiple different offers to have a similar kind of concept as the products, right? Instead of having all the cash flow of the business being reliant on like product 6 and 5, right? We want to distribute it so that it's more even. The business automatically, the revenue every single day of the business is going to be a lot more consistent. And so we're achieving the same exact model. What do I mean by offers? I mean like BOGO offers. Now I'm not saying exactly what they're doing. I'm just saying in general, like BOGO offers, buy one get one free, or buy a bundle of 2 and get this other product for free, or maybe a little discount on first-time buyers, or maybe selling a bundle instead of selling a solution, or sorry, one singular product, right? Or maybe doing an offer with ebooks, like being very creative. And of course, like these creatives are coherent to the offer that we're promoting in many cases. And so we are scaling horizontally, not just vertically. We're scaling also horizontally, because when you scale vertically, there always is a ceiling that you're reaching. Whether that's 6, 7, 8 figures, whatever the number may be, there's always a ceiling based on saturation, based on customers or potential customers being tired of seeing the same exact offer, the same exact product, the same exact angle. Same thing is across multiple things: products, offers, and angles. So this is the environment that we're trying to create, is to have an environment where we have a team that basically launches and tests new offers pretty consistently throughout the year. Okay, so this is essentially what we want to achieve. Same as the product. Now the same thing applies with scaling with angles, right? And when I say angles, I essentially mean marketing angles. So I always take the examples here. You can sell this exact same product. If you're a new viewer, good. If you're not, probably rolling your eyes, because I've spoken about this many times. But you can sell this product in many different ways. One, because it's maybe super high tech, so you sell it to the high tech people. Or one is because it's super small and convenient. Or another angle is because it's super small and convenient, you can jog with it and do athletics with it, right? So there's multiple angles that you can approach a product. Also by age, demographic, and market, right? You can do multiple different things. So once again, what we're trying to do is distribute the level of risk and also add cash flow kind of like assets or angles that add revenue to the business every single day. So once again, same as kind of the offers and the principles with the offers and the products, we're doing the same exact thing. And one thing that we're doing over here is that we spend 80% of our time, and this is pretty much on everything, on the entire business, we spend 80% of our time on winning angles that already work. So we're going to have more, these are basically new creative concepts, right? So we're launching, these are basically ads, right? Creative concepts, ads, same thing. And so we're spending 80% of our time here to angles that are already proven to work, so that we have a consistent business that is profitable. And then we spend 20% of our time on maybe new angles and new creative concepts within these new angles. And so as you can see, this is basically the distribution, right? This is like 20% over here, of energy over here, and 80% of the energy over here. So this is pretty consistent throughout the ad account, throughout the entire business. And this is the mentality that we're using to once again achieve a profitable business, but at the same time find new winning things. Because the reality is that if you keep on just doing the same things, whether it's after a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, eventually it's going to stop working, because it's how marketing works. People want to see new things, new products, new offers, new angles, as I said before many times. Okay, so this is what we're trying to achieve, and what they have achieved, to be honest. We're approaching angles and marketing with different angles, and it's working quite well for them, and it's distributing their cash flow, which makes a secure and more scalable business. Okay, scaling with angles, this is what I wanted to talk about. Conversion rate optimization, this is a huge aspect. Like and you know that I know that I'm talking about high level. I wanted to make this video more high level, not like too nitty and gritty, because I'm talking about kind of like high level frameworks of how businesses scale, or how this business is scaling to 8 figures. But one thing that I do want to note, and I always see this, is that businesses that maybe don't, the ones that do 100K a month, it's maybe not really, they're not there yet to do. They don't have enough volume to have like a full CRO service or a full CRO team. But when you start approaching like 250, 200, 250, 300, $500,000 a month, you really, 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 really need CRO or a team, in-house, agency, outsourced, whatever. It doesn't have to be an agency, right? It can be anybody, 1, 2, 3 people within the team that just full time just do split tests. What do I mean by split tests? I mean it's testing different advertorials, different product pages. What within these two aspects do they need to test? Well, they can test headlines, they can test the CTA button, they can test the copy of the landing page, they can test the structure of the landing page. This is what you should do. And so in order of importance, the first thing that makes the most difference and that we typically try to test because it makes the biggest impact is the offer itself. So that's like a split test, going back to what we were doing over here. Testing with offers. Same with angles. This is all kind of like a CRO included test. When I talked about angles over here, this was mostly regarding paid ads, but here I'm mostly talking about, of course, landing pages, websites, listicles, advertorials, and stuff like that. You get the point. And so offers are going to have the highest leverage because changing the offer will also change the price most likely, and if it doesn't change the price, it's changing the way that you're presenting the product to your audience, and so which could completely change the conversion rate and the average order value. So that's the first highest leverage opportunity. The second highest leverage opportunity is changing kind of like the top of the fold, so the initial section over here of all the products, because that's basically the first scroll. And the statistics say that most people that land on your website don't actually scroll through the entire page. So optimizing the top of the fold. And then I would say the third thing that you can optimize that makes less of a difference, but is still really, really important. And typically brands that do this, which I'm about to explain, are brands that like have already proven offers, already proven everything, and they just need to make it better and to the 100%. And so what I'm talking about is like switching sections and testing small elements within each specific section of the website, right? If you're starting out, if you're doing 200, 300K a month, 500, you shouldn't be like, you can focus on that maybe like 10% of your tests, but you should focus on offers and optimizing top of the fold and stuff like that. So what we do here that really, really works well, and they have their own CRE. We don't handle CRO for them and for this client, but what we do when we do CRO, we basically have like a very simple and systematized Excel sheet or Google sheet where every single test that we do, we document exactly what was our inference, what was the test, and this is like a small portion of the sheet. It's actually way, way longer. It has like 15 columns, and we track like the hypothesis, version A, version B, the difference, whether it was a winner or a loser, change in conversion rate, change in average order value, and then we have also a column with like notes and observations to make sure that we track everything. So this is really, really important. I've seen companies just like increase revenue by like 10, 15, 20% just because of the way that they're optimizing and doing CRO and testing offers and all this stuff that I talked about just now. Okay, so this is really important. KPI tracking and documentation. This is by far one of the most important things. I'm just going to briefly share the command center. I always share this document, but in just long story short, you need to have a systematized way to track everything you do within your company. Why? Because when you go back, you have to know what worked, what didn't work, what you test, what you didn't test, and everything. You cannot just like rely on the ad account and just do everything on there. It's not safe. It's also like if you start building this is really, really valuable. So it builds enterprise value. So if I go over here, this is an example of the command center. Let me just move myself over here. And so you have like a bunch of different things. You have like a TikTok shop tracker. This is like for a TikTok shop service if you're doing it. So you have a TikTok shop tracker. You have a TikTok creator tracker for the creators, email marketing for email campaigns, email flows, all this stuff, a CRO tracker, which is what I was talking about before. This is basically all the columns on all the tests, etc. We have storyboards for content creators. We have a UGC tracker for like normal UGC videos that we're trying to produce. A visuals folder, so where we have like videos and images. and stuff like that. Then we have ad copies, right, where we track ad copies based on the different levels of awareness. And then we have like a creative testing tracker, where every single column, or sorry, row that we track over here is essentially like a creative test on the ad account. So if we're launching a new ad set, if we're launching 3 new ad sets, they would basically go here. Ad set number 1, ad set number 2, ad set number 3, and then we track everything like the creative concept that we used on that ad set, the main emotion, the avatar customer, the hook, the messaging, and basically a bunch of different things until we basically track what the stats are. This allows us to know what worked, what didn't work, and what to focus on the near future, essentially. And then of course we have like other things like daily report, where we track all the numbers of the business with like color coding, so we know exactly what's working, what's not working, what are the trends, when we can scale, when we cannot. You get the point. Hopefully, I've been ranting for the last 5 minutes. You're probably tired of hearing my voice, but you get the point. I'm just used to like explaining this on my demos with clients, and so like, this is I talk about this sheet every single day, every single week, every single day. And this is where my team spends like 50, 60, 70% of their time, because it's such a detrimental part of the business to track everything. And then of course we have like an onboarding sheet. This is for clients, whatever, but just competitors, ad IDs, and creative concepts. This is really, really important, because we do all the angles here, all the creative concepts that we can test for the client or for the brand, and then all the hooks that we want to test. And so we do a bunch of stuff up front. And this is how we are operating an 8-figure business. Honestly, any business, also if you're doing 6 figures, 7 figures, it doesn't matter. This is how you should spend your time, optimizing your systems and processes, so that everything is super documented and very, very clear. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Now, bulletproof creative structure, I'm not going to talk about this too much. This is a topic maybe for another day. But long story short, you need to have a predictable way of producing content. What you're seeing over here is a strategy that I've spoken about before, and essentially how we generate content, mostly for clients that want to scale aggressively, is that we partner with creators and we ask them to do B-rolls. B-rolls are like 3 to 5 second scenes of like them being happy, them being sad, them opening up the bottle, them drinking the supplement, whatever. So different scenes, and then we basically give it to the creative team, and they come up with a bunch of different B-rolls all put together with different storylines. How do we create a storyline? We create it with like scripts using AI. So leveraging like Descript, which is an AI tool that we use a lot. We go and type, there's a text to speech AI feature where you can write the text, write the storyboard, and then it will translate it into like a voiceover with an accent. So English accent, male, female, New York accent, California accent, whatever you want. And so you can basically create unlimited storylines, and it's also quite cheap compared to the value that you're getting back. Next thing that is really, really important is multi-channel marketing approach. I cannot stress this enough. Like, you don't need this to scale to like 7 figures, but if you want to get to 8 figures, I've seen some brands scale to 8 figures with like 2 channels, right? Maybe Facebook and Google, but it's way easier to actually start implementing omnipresent strategies as you scale and as you grow. Because if you spend 50K a month on Facebook, maybe 5K a month, 10K a month on Google, I can almost guarantee you, at this point guarantee you that if you start testing like other platforms like, whatever, Google, like YouTube Shorts or TikTok, or other platforms, Snapchat, you can get and squeeze retargeting from it. We have a client that's spending like 200K a month. We just started, 150K a month. We just started with TikTok, spending like $500 a day, $300 a day. And it's such high ROAS because we're just retargeting everything. And it's just like an extra, 50 to 100 grand a month if we put in all of the extra retargeting omnipresent channels that we're putting into the business. That's an extra $1 to $2 million a year probably in just like retargeting and working with like these other platforms. And then of course, like the idea here is that once we get somebody within the pipeline, probably from TikTok, Meta, Bing, I put Bing here because we did run Bing ads for a client, which worked. And so whatever. And so once they're in, we want to make sure that they're never out again until they buy or until they unsubscribe or whatever, and they just leave. And so this is what we're doing. And of course, email and SMS, super detrimental. I'm not going to talk about email and SMS because I think you all understand the importance of that. But we try to generate between 20 and 25 at least % of the revenue just coming from email and SMS marketing. Now, if you are a 7-figure business, and you probably, you're kind of established, you probably already have that channel. What I've noticed, if there's one thing that is really, really a difference a big difference between 7 and 8 figure business is mostly like this thing over here with concepts that I just explained on the top. Scaling with offers, scaling with angles, scaling with products, and scaling with a conversion rate optimization. Okay, these are basically, if you have to get a nugget over here, and of course also tracking. Like if you, a bit of everything basically, but that's why it's on this video. But if you have to like a nugget over here, it's basically these things on the top. If you want to get one kind of like golden nugget from this video. And then, chances are if you scale to 7 figures, you kind of have a process of generating creatives. It doesn't become the bottleneck anymore once you get there and once you have a process for that. It does become a bottleneck when you want to really increase ad spend because you need more creators, more team members, etc. You get the point. But I don't want to get too off of topic. The last thing that you pretty much need is that, and that I've noticed between 6 and 7 figure businesses and 8 figure businesses, is that they actually build to sell. Like they build, what do I mean by that? I basically mean they have like very organized and structured SOP'd standard operating procedures, right? They have how do I say it? Like a procedure for every single step of the entire business. And so part of this process involves creating a team. And so what I created here, which is basically what we have internally for the agency, just to give you an example of what you could create in-house for your team, is that there's different pods. So we have an email pod, we have a paid ads pod, we have a conversion rate optimization pod, etc. And so what I'm showing you over here is basically a paid ads pod, and this is how it's structured. We have a pod director, which basically looks at the entire process and has like a 30,000 foot view on the top and can kind of manage everything and can see what's going on and chime in when they need to. They're like the director, kind of like this mini CEO of the pod. And then we have a head of performance, this is like a director role. And this is the person responsible for kind of like creative concepts, marketing angles, coming up with like ideas that generate money, essentially ideas that generate income, cash flow, profit, revenue, right? This is basically, that's why it's called, this person is called head of performance. And then of course under them they have like media buyers and they have like copywriters and creative strategists with that, which then underneath these people there's like video editors, of course, and graphic designers. If you're trying to, if you're at multiple 7 figures or you're trying to get to 8 figures, this is pretty much what you need. Just for the paid ads team. Probably you can be the director yourself if you don't want to hire like a mini pod CEO, right? And when I say CEO, I don't mean the company CEO. I mean specifically, it's like a kind of like a senior director, and this is a junior director, if that's even a role, right? But you get the point. And then typically there's also on the other side a creative UGC director, which is this person is in charge towards finding is in charge of finding new UGC collaborations, influencers, perhaps also maybe writing storyboards. And then they typically have a VA. Typically these two people, like VAs, a media buyer has like a VA to help them, or a creative UGC director as a VA, just because these people are the people that are receiving tasks, right? Head of performance is kind of like managing and managing the tasks, giving tasks to the creative team and to the advertising team. And then all of these other people are kind of like, they have tasks to do and they need to do stuff, and it's like more kind of labor work, okay? More heavy work, okay? Hopefully this makes sense, but building a team is one of the most profitable things that you should focus on if you want to grow your business, especially to the next level. You cannot do it alone. You cannot do it with 1 or 2 people. You need to build a team, okay? It doesn't have to be crazy expensive, right? It doesn't have to be crazy expensive. You can also hire part-time to start off, and you can find great people in South America, in countries like Croatia, Ukraine, Serbia. Like, it doesn't have to be like a US employee that's super expensive. Sorry if you're from the US, but you can get creative if you don't want to like really have like super high payroll. Okay, hopefully you got some value from this video. I did talk about general kind of things and aspects, but I did want to keep it this way, so hopefully you got some value. And once again, as I always say at the end part of the video, if you own an e-commerce business, feel free to book a call to see if you qualify. We can just have a conversation with me or one of my team members, and we can see if there's an opportunity to work together and as growth partners. Okay, that's it for this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.